This game made the mistake of waiting until the sequel to go into Sebastian's backstory about his dead daughter and missing wife. In the first game, those details were only brought up as bog standard backstory, and had nothing to do with anything going on in the game. But now we're expected to care. Sebastian's office burns down for the sole purpose of this intro transition. Also, this column under the headline is actually the script of an early scene in the first game, when Sebastian woke up tied to the ceiling and had to cut himself free. It even describes a guy trying to kill Sebastian as chainsaw enemy. According to Sebastian's memory, he ran home instead of drove, since he ran up to his driveway from the street instead of driving a car. With Sebastian's backstory as an alcoholic cop, and a wife and daughter who were both killed by a sinister organization in their home, I'm starting to think Sebastian might be related to Max Payne. Or maybe even is Max Payne. I mean, just look at him.
Lily? Come on out! Lily! Where are you?
Changing voice actors from one game to the next is a major pet peeve of mine, especially when the new actor brings nothing new to the performance, and is in fact worse. Mark Bobasic, however it's pronounced, spends most of the game cleaning the walls with a sandpaper in his voice. Now be a good dream daughter and don't kill daddy while blaming him for your death. I said don't kill daddy! How many cuts do you think we need to accurately portray Sebastian knocking his drink over? I'm thinking 3. How the hell did Kidman pull off that trick? Was she waiting for Sebastian to cover his eyes momentarily so she could take a seat without being noticed? Why didn't she just sit down while he was passed out?
You knew what was going to happen in that hospital, didn't you?
What happened at Beacon is in the past. You need to forget it.
Does that also mean Ruvik, the villain from the first game who escaped from the stem into the real world, and who is completely absent from this game?
Where did you get this?
A fair question, since that photo presumably burned with the house. Meaning whoever set the fire to cover up Lily's death must have taken a half-burned family photo for no reason.
Lily's still alive.
I should also mention that your wife is alive and working with us, but I'd rather save that for a surprise.
Lily is dead! I read the police report!
Is the police report really all that you needed to convince you that your child was dead? Was there no body? Even the coroner kind of needs one of those to declare someone dead. Considering how drunk Sebastian is, sedating him even further is a risky move.
Be careful about what you say. You don't know how powerful they are.
Right. So powerful they have to kidnap a washed-up ex-cop to help them.
At least your terrible sense of humor is still intact.
But he's being literal. That is exactly what they're doing.
Beacon Mental Hospital incident was an unfortunate setback. But we used the knowledge gained to build a new and vastly improved STEM system.
You used the events at Beacon to build a better STEM, yet didn't create some kind of emergency override for when things go south. This is the machine you want to stick all of humanity inside. You kinda need a failsafe in place.
We needed to start with a mind that was pure and clean enough to support thousands of personalities. The mind of an innocent child.
But you didn't. You started with Ruvik, who was a psychopath. He was the first core, even though you had already kidnapped Lily for the purpose of making her the STEM core. The administrator looks like an evil Ted Cruz. Or a normal Ted Cruz if we're being political.
A little over a week ago, Lily vanished. Just stopped sending signals. Then the STEM environment began to collapse. We thought it was just a technical glitch. An easy fix, so we sent a team of Mobius agents inside. But then we lost contact with them, and STEM went dark.
Since it's all one big simulation, couldn't you have just fixed it here in reality? Do you not control the back end of your own system? All I need is just one explanation for how STEM works and I can be happy.
Think about this, Mr. Castellanos. I am providing you an opportunity. Not only to see your daughter again, but to save her life.
Why turn to Sebastian for this when Kidman also has experience inside a corrupted STEM environment? She was the one they sent in after Leslie in the first game after all, and she's worked with Lily since they kidnapped her. So this mission wouldn't be beyond her abilities. I think Kidman accidentally loaded up her favorite music video rather than the STEM program.
So your experts need rescuing too, huh?
If anyone can do it, it's you.
If anyone can save our highly trained experts, it's an alcoholic former cop.
What the hell is this? Where am I?
What the hell? What's going on? Where am I? This can't be real. These are the statements someone without experience inside a STEM would make. Sebastian is not that person. He's been through this before, and that's why Mobius picked him to do it again. I'm not sure whether it's ingenious or ridiculous that a killer inside STEM is using looping GIFs as his MO. Let's compare. A father looking for his little girl who is tragically burned in a house fire, a small town overrun by monsters from someone's twisted imagination, an evil cult behind the scenes who wants a girl for themselves. I don't want to claim this game is ripping off Silent Hill, but it is definitely peeping through Silent Hill's window. Game steals the moving statues, mannequins, corpses when you are looking from Bioshock, Condemned, Fear, and pretty much every other horror game. Valentine, who has killed everyone else he's come across while trapping them in their dying moment, simply takes a surprise portrait of Sebastian. There's actually not that many jump scares in this game, but 2 of them are mirror jump scares. They can't even get this right when they use restraint. While the design of this thing is truly unsettling, this is just the game reliving an early moment in the first game where Sebastian was chased down a long hallway by something wielding a saw. The moment they reference in that newspaper, in fact. This will not be the last time I bring this moment up in the video. That knife stuck deep in Sebastian's shoulder will not affect him in any way. It isn't even brought up again despite being a serious injury. Just like when Sebastian's leg was cut open by a chainsaw while being chased down the hallway, and was never brought up again or seemed to hinder him. And I'm going to bring up this chase again later. Don't blame me. It's this game that seems to think that was a great moment in video games.
What the fuck is going on here?
You already know. You've done this before. Stim didn't erase your memories, did it? Why didn't Mobius send Sebastian in with any weapons? They can do that. After all, they sent in a team full of fully armed experts while Sebastian had to look out and find a pistol under a book. Players had a lot of complaints about the first game. I don't think a single one of them was. This horror game should be a semi-open world game with side objectives. Great job fixing an issue no one raised.
I said eat!
Seen here is an accurate portrayal of how YouTube treats content creators. Let's put ourselves in Sebastian's shoes. We are a former detective who was once forced into a STEM, where humans can turn into zombie-like monsters with murder boners. We've just been put into another failed STEM, and despite our past experience, we react to every situation like this is all brand new to us. Sebastian has no reason to wait for this lady to finish smashing this guy's head in before he realizes something's wrong. He should just open fire. Here's a question for you to puzzle over. Mobius lost contact with the members of the task force they sent in to deal with the STEM core going missing. However, Sebastian is in constant communication with Kidman on the outside through the use of his scanner, a device that every member of the task force also carries. So how did they lose contact?
My job is to solve a hardware issue. Dying inside here is above my pay grade.
If Liam's job is to solve a hardware issue, then he is on the wrong end of the system. All the actual hardware is in the real world, while this is a simulation.
Not Mobius, but they sent you in here? Why?
I'm looking for I'm trying to restore the core.
This type of Mass Effect style cutscene made up of canned animations is normally only in games with a lot of voice dialogue like RPGs. So using it in a much smaller horror game strikes me as being lazy. But I'm guessing they had some unused animations from Fallout 4 lying around.
They can't extract you. Not until Lily is found.
Who's Lily?
You're here to fix the core and you don't even know who or what the core is? What was the plan?
It's more dangerous out there than I expected. Any idea where I can get some weapons and supplies?
I'll mark the signal on your communicator. Follow it or don't follow it. I don't care.
That's a pretty good quote for open world game design in general.
Okay. Let's see if I can find this signal he mentioned. Looks pretty far away, but it's the only lead I've got.
Maybe I shouldn't question how Lily's memories of her running from Valentine in the past are somehow broadcasting a radio signal for Sebastian to follow, because it makes no goddamn sense.
What in the hell?
You saw a city fold in on itself in the last game. This town falling to pieces is nothing compared to that. Sebastian suddenly seen through Lily's eyes back when she was hiding from Valentine is never explained, never happens again, and it's just a lazy way for the developers to show how Lily was captured. Lily is the core of this STEM world, just like Ruvik was the core in the first game. Ruvik was a god that could do whatever he wanted in his world, yet Lily can do nothing but run away from people. Valentine, knowing Lily is hiding from him in this room, walks away just so he can jump scare her as she tries to leave.
Look up. Do you see a building with a big clock tower?
Yeah?
That's it.
How in the hell am I supposed to get up there?
This level design inspired by the Milkman conspiracy level from Psychonauts, which this game has more in common with than I realized when I started writing this line.
We call it the marrow. It exists in a layer separate from what you see.
That doesn't make any sense.
Fortunately for you, it doesn't have to make sense. It just has to work.
Another great quote on current open world game design.
Where's this marrow that gets me to City Hall? And who comes up with these ridiculous names?
Sebastian would be great at game sense. Why name what is essentially a sewer and tunnel system for fast travel after a vital part of the body?
Union was built with a sort of backstage area, so Mobius operatives could observe the test subjects in secret. Most of these passageways are still intact enough to bypass the fissures in Union.
But chunks of the city are floating in the air. How are there tunnels?
They're passageways, not tunnels. When you go in and out of them, you're basically phase shifting. The passageways are still intact, but the collapse of Union has caused infrastructure issues.
You just finished telling Sebastian that the Marrow was a backstage area not connected to Union, and even though the town is in pieces floating in the sky, somehow the tunnels will still get Sebastian to Town Hall. So how can the collapse of the town cause infrastructure issues? Welcome to the Outlast section of the game.
You must turn on the emitter. It will stabilize the environment.
Harrison stayed alive just long enough to tell Sebastian to turn on the stable field emitter and give him his communicator to do it. Welcome to the Layers of Fear section of the game. If I wanted to continue the theme, I could welcome you to the Fatal Frame section. But even I'm not lazy enough to use the same sin 3 times even if it is justified. Okay, screw that. Welcome to the PT section of the game. If the game is going to borrow ideas from every relevant horror game in recent memory, what else can I do? Valentine captures Sebastian in one of his photo gifts, but instead of killing him like everyone else, proceeds to taunt him and then leave. His stated reason is because Sebastian is his art now, but everyone he killed so far was his art. I'm not sure if it's some weird female empowerment thing or a hidden meaning that I missed, but nearly every boss monster is some twisted female abomination. The wailing ghost who hunts Sebastian through town, the 3-headed lady with a buzzsaw, and now the orgasmic obscura are all women who either hum, moan, or giggle while attacking Sebastian.
A secret society abducted Lily and staged her death? Do you realize how crazy that sounds?
But it's true. Why can't you understand that?
Sebastian sees a moment from his past when he refused to believe his wife when she claimed their daughter was still alive but abducted by a secret society. We're supposed to think Sebastian was being a dick for not believing his wife, but she offered no proof of her claim. Proof she would have to have in order to believe it herself.
Lily. Whoever's been here was gathering data on her.
Which really doesn't make any sense. How much more data does Mobius need to gather on a girl they abducted years ago, tested and then stuck inside a stem core?
My name is Sebastian Castellanos.
You're lying. Sebastian Castellanos is dead.
What? No. Who told you that?
As it will turn out, Sebastian's wife is the one who told all these team members that he was dead, which not only seems like a lie hard to pull off given Mobius was stopping Sebastian's investigation, but completely pointless. Why tell people who would likely have no interaction with Sebastian that he was deceased?
If Mobius knew to keep psychopaths out of STEM, then how did one end up in here?
I don't know. Every individual in STEM was subjected to a battery of psychological exams prior to placement.
What? They intentionally stuck a psychopath into STEM in the first game, and if STEM can only be controlled by either a child or a psychopath, that should tell you that your technology has some major issues. Also, Mobius' plan is to stick everyone in the world into STEM. That will mean including a whole lot of people with mental disorders, and all it takes is one to seemingly screw the entire system.
There's only one thing that could be more powerful than a psychopath in here. But I need to do some research before I can commit to the theory.
Well, you can tell him what it is. It's not like him knowing will change the outcome of your research.
Artist. Yeah, that's him all right.
He's quite a flamboyant character. Seems he never reached the level of success that he wanted.
Sounds familiar. I know of another flamboyant artist who failed. Then he started World War II.
This may be the first game to ever invoke Godwin's Law. If these two photos are so damn special to Valentine, why did he make them the lock on the theater, thereby ensuring that anyone who might want to get to him would have to first destroy them? And now a quote from a scholar of our time.
I'm gonna stab the shit out of you.
Do you think maybe that they forgot that they already used a mirror jump scare earlier? Because I sure as hell didn't.
He could never understand this.
He?
Who is he? It doesn't matter. He won't be around much longer.
Valentini plays a pronoun game, so Sebastian will have to ask who he is, which Valentini refuses to answer. Only someone comparable to Hitler would play this twisted word game.
Picasso had his blue period. I have entered my crimson period.
Well, you are in luck. There's plenty of hygiene products on the market to help you deal with that issue. This is easily the best moment in the game, so it gets a sin removed. However, this game suffers from the Voss syndrome, where the charismatic and interesting villain is killed off at the halfway point, and replaced with a villain who can't possibly fill his shoes. Valentini is giving Wesker a run for his money with the amount of douchebag teleportation he's doing. The developers saw those Scarecrow levels in Arkham Asylum and decided, yeah, that'll do, even though we haven't developed a platforming or climbing mechanic. It's been at least 4 years since Lily was abducted, yet she looks exactly the same as when Sebastian last saw her.
Come to Mother, Lily. I will protect you.
Myra.
Lily will come to her mother Myra, who looks like this, but not her father, who is begging her to come out. Turns out, you can survive any fall as long as no one witnesses the impact.
I'll be out here for you, and someone else will be in there for you.
Kidman. She knew about Myra.
This is why Kidman should have been upfront with Sebastian that his wife was inside STEM with him. Sebastian can really take a fall. That's two now that should have killed him.
Another lunatic with a god complex, huh? I already killed one of you today.
That is how you deal with every challenge in your life. And look where it has led you.
It seems to be pretty effective. You can't exactly reason with monsters.
Join me. You will be reunited with your daughter. And I will have the power of the core.
Let's talk about Father Theodore's plan. First, he used Valentini, a known psychopath, to capture Lily for him, only for Valentini to turn on him and use Lily for his own sake. Now he wants Sebastian to find Lily for him, meaning he wants Lily's own father to do the job that will result in killing his wife, and handing his daughter over to an evil Morpheus with a god complex. Can't see anything going wrong with his plan this time. This game thinks it can get away with transitioning to whatever it wants simply because this is all in someone's head. Sebastian was just in a dungeon talking to Theodore before he was flushed down a pipe by a wall of blood. Now he wakes up in a shack in the woods being defended by a woman he's never met. This mob raid scene brought to you by Resident Evil 4. You even have a sidekick with a Spanish name helping you.
How did I wind up here? And who are you?
No time for 20 questions. My safe house isn't too far. We can talk on the way there.
So there is time for 20 questions.
Let me guess. The way back to your safe house?
There might be another way, come on.
You could easily climb over those rocks. This isn't that big of a blockade for someone on foot.
So you're telling me Kidman had a plan to take out Mobius all this time?
Actually, it was your wife's plan.
This would be example number 1 of if you were an evil organization, don't hire the mother of the child you abducted and experimented on. They tend to have conflicting interests with your company's goals.
The bastard smooth-talked himself right into the middle of the plan, just to use it for his own personal gain. His handwriting should have been a dead giveaway that he's a psycho. Jesus. This looks like it was written by the Zodiac Killer.
Why? Because he writes in all caps? What is with Sebastian comparing every psycho he meets with another famous psycho? Sebastian gets really lucky that Hoffman somehow created one of those memory broadcasts before leaving to go meet Liam. Otherwise, Sebastian would have no way of knowing where they went. This does, however, make me question how these memories are recorded and which ones are chosen. Liam starts his cutscene off a solid 7 feet in height. Once he takes his mask off, he's back to his normal size.
I helped him hide. And in exchange, he gave me a new life.
A life as a slave.
Normally, cults don't put the whole mental slavery thing on their business card.
I've been locked in my safe house since you left. When Liam called and asked me to meet him, I was so relieved to hear his voice.
So you guys could have been in contact the whole time? Every single one of you claimed that you'd been cut off and had no idea if the rest of the team was even alive or not.
I was tasked with some things that I'm not proud of.
Torres doesn't want to discuss something she did in her past she's trying to find redemption from. Try and think of something that would be relevant to the plot other than abducting Sebastian's daughter, and keep repeating it, because this game was too lazy to hide that reveal properly. And brainwashing yourself is the only way it will be a surprise when revealed. You might want to consider taking a few more steps back and putting something between you and the stable field emitter before you detonate the C4. They survived this. This game is making me use the teleportation is always used to be a dick cliche so much that I'm sick of using it. Well, that's about the biggest dick move you can pull with teleportation. I'm not even sure how Torres got down here and in front of Sebastian while Father Theodore was messing with him to take the bullet. Considering that Theodore uses a person's guilt to turn them to his side, why didn't he try to turn Torres? She was feeling guilty about abducting Lily after all.
I'm home. How did I...
What part of being in a dream world do you not understand exactly?
But I couldn't protect her.
How could you? Mobius are a force of nature. It wasn't your fault.
Who needs character growth when you can just hallucinate your wife to resolve you of any blame? This is what crazy and narcissistic people do. People like Hitler. And the Zodiac Killer.
I shot her.
The bullet wound was superficial.
A point-blank round to the stomach is never superficial.
It's all my fault.
No, Sebastian. It's not your fault.
You just had a big revelation about things outside of your control not being your fault. Do we really need back-to-back scenes of this? Anything else you feel guilty over that needs resolution while we're here? Oh man, I forgot to pick up milk at the store. It's all my fault. No, Sebastian, it's not your fault. I didn't think of it like that. I guess you're right.
Theodore's stronghold appeared in the middle of Union, but it's surrounded by what looks like a massive wall of fire.
Shit. I won't be able to get through it.
I think that there may be a way. I found a device in Liam's equipment room that should be able to help.
It was labeled Deus Ex Machina.
And what if you need emergency psychoanalysis? Who's gonna help you then?
Yeah, because that's a thing that happens.
Hoffman!
Just shoot the monster off her. Don't lunge and try to grab her hand. That's the key difference between acting like you're trying to help and actually helping. I guess Sebastian is going to need someone else to tell him how Hoffman's death isn't his fault either.
I see you've overcome some of your guilt and pain.
It only took 2 people dying and everyone telling me how nothing was my fault. You'd be amazed how easy it is to get over your hangups when everyone is working to completely absolve you of your sins. Strangely, this game does a boss rush of bosses from the first game. I guess even the developers realized the bosses in the sequel were nothing special. Plus, it lets them reuse character models. If we are being technical, and I always am, this game already relived the early scene in the first game of being chased down a hallway by a monster with a saw, by having another monster with a saw chase Sebastian down a hallway in this game. Told you I'd bring it up again. Suddenly I'm getting Evil Dead 2 flashbacks. I mean, you even get a boomstick in this game. Surprise impalement from behind cliché. What? This makes the 3rd game in a row that I've sinned where someone has died like this. That makes it a cliché in my book. How do you explain Sebastian surviving this fall? You don't. You just fade to white and show him lying on the ground alive. Myra destroyed all of Union to keep Lily safe and to keep Sebastian from reaching her. But this actually brought Sebastian to where Myra is keeping Lily.
I feel the end approaching.
You've been here for me the whole time. Both times.
Maybe I've been with you longer than that.
What do you mean? Who are you?
I haven't mentioned the nurse Tatiana in Sebastian's head up until now since there hasn't been anything worth mentioning until this line. Like nearly everything else from the first game, every bit of mystery and intrigue was sucked out of the game so they could do this cliché plot about an ex-cop looking for his daughter. So things like the nurse were de-emphasized to the point where she really does nothing but upgrade your stats. Until now, where they designate her to be the character to keep an opening for a sequel.
This is our new home. Lily will be safe here.
Even in her crazed state, Myra should be aware that it's only Lily's mind that is in here, and her body is still in the stim machine which is controlled by Mobius. Did you shoot your gun with your eyes closed? The Evil Within 2's boob rendering technology is 5 years behind Metro Last Light. Granted, this is never a fair sim when criticizing monster boobs, but I already passed over 2 other pairs of monster boobs and I can only overlook so much.
You hurt me. You'll hurt her too.
Everyone said that wasn't my fault though. Why you gotta bring up old shit?
I didn't want to.
Well, luckily for you, shooting your wife had no real consequences. In fact, this improved her condition and helped her regain her sanity.
Leave me. Just get Lily. Leave me.
No, I won't leave you again.
You have to.
No, he really doesn't. This is just pointless melodrama. He's more than capable of carrying you to the house and you end up walking there yourself. Mobius really should have rethought their idea to install hidden gun drawers at their workstations.
A shame that you'd attempt to betray us. I had such hope for you.
I didn't play the DLC for the first game, but in it, Kidman pretty much turned against Mobius when she killed the administrator that was in her head, and Mobius was monitoring that. Shouldn't they have suspected a double cross from Kidman? After all the hours I've spent playing this game, I realize the only thing I know about Lily is that she's a little girl who needed rescuing. There was nothing else to her character. You have to make me care on some level other than an instinctual one, game.
STEM is more than just this place. All of Mobius are connected to it via the chips in their heads. Once I assume the power of the core, I can transmit a signal just as Union collapses. A signal that can take Mobius down once and for all.
Every member of Mobius has a chip installed in their head that is connected to STEM, and the person controlling STEM can send a signal to those chips that will kill them instantly. Not only does this seem like an incredibly dumb move, it's downright suicidal, since both of the people who have been STEM cores have had every reason to hate Mobius. One was a psychopath that Mobius betrayed and stuck him inside his own machine, and the other was a little girl they took from her family and experimented on.
Join us or die? Well, guess what? There's a third choice. And that's fuck you!
That's a damn fine fuck you line if I ever heard one.
It's a shame to have to lose you like this, kid.
You promised to kill her slow if she didn't surrender, yet activating her STEM chip would kill her rather quickly. Actually, why are you only just now trying to activate it? Not that it would have worked since she removed her chip days ago, but you should have tried activating it as soon as Kidman played her hand. Driving off into the sunset cliché. Sequel baiting. Really? Cinematic letterboxes and unlock. Unlocks are not supposed to make the experience worse. Did I unlock 30 frames per second mode too?
Boy, Morty, I really Cronenberg'd the world up, didn't I? We got a whole planet of Cronenbergs walking around down there, Morty.
Hi, and thanks for watching this video. If you want to continue the discussion about this game, or just chat with me and other fans anytime you like, joining the GameSense Discord server is the most convenient way. Discord is a text, voice, and now video messaging app you can use right from your browser, phone, and even your desktop. It's completely free to use, and you can join my fan server by clicking the link down below. Or you could start your own Discord community for anything you like. My server is an incredibly well moderated community and I hope to see you there soon.